Bro, what the f? More people should talk about Dragons Dogma 2. A lot can be said about Dragons Dogma 2 and the grave it dug itself with the microtransaction drama surrounding it, resulting in the mostly negative rating on Steam when the game first released. Since then, thankfully, the game has seen an improvement in the rating to a delicious mixed rating, but seeing people's reactions to the game about 6 months later got me wondering, first of all, is the game really hated on only because of the microtransactions thing, or is it because of some other reason, or maybe multiple reasons surrounding the gameplay or the actual performance of the game? Because if the hate is solely based on the microtransaction thing, then why aren't all these games with microtransactions treated the same? That got me wondering, bro, so of course I had to give it a go.
Excuse me. Somebody had to do it.
And see if it's any good regardless of the drama surrounding it. So subscribe if you're new and let's get on with whatever the f this game is, if it's any fun to play, and of course if it deserves a second chance. Now, kicking things off, I think we should talk about the elephant in the room, and that's the performance of the game. Now, post-release, I believe the game has seen a few optimization updates as well as some additional content updates, and by a few, meaning I checked their website, there's been a whopping 7 updates in total, both big and small. So one could expect the game to run way better than it did. And I do have to say, it thankfully does run way better than it did on release at least. Now, is it perfect? Hell's to the no. But it does run way better. It runs well enough to not impede with the moment-to-moment gameplay, for myself at least. But this is a subjective thing after all. I know a bunch of people who can't stand dips below 60 frames per second.
That's my opinion!
And others who play constantly on 30 frames. And the game, for the most part, at least during my initial like 25-ish hours with the game, runs at around those frames. Sometimes it goes higher than that, but sometimes, well, unfortunately, it tends to dip momentarily below 30 if the going gets, well, super going. I haven't come across any major glitches so far, and no crashes, so it seems the biggest issue now is just more of the optimization stuff in the game. And hopefully, soon enough, they'll help the game run way better. But as of this moment, I find it to run okay good. I have a 3070 Ti graphics card, and I'm solid, and for me it runs pretty well, so I can imagine for most people at least. And I know people get super triggered when sometimes the frames drop even remotely, especially if you have a rig that costs about the same as a down payment for a freaking house.
The RTX 3080, starting at $699.
And that is understandable, admittedly. And if you do disagree with me on this point, then please do let me know in the comments down below. But another big issue in the game, or another elephant in the room, you might say, that we had at least at launch was the microtransactions. And to this point, I want to just quickly say, I haven't seen even one reason or need to buy anything in the game through IRL money, to be very honest. Everything that can be bought through microtransactions, which I think was at least like 20 things, can be acquired or bought within the game. So all this drama surrounding this system, I honestly don't understand, because spoiler alert, you can just ignore it completely, broski. Like, you don't gotta partake in microtransactions. I get why they do it. It is a business after all. Gaming is a business for these companies after all, unfortunately for us gamers. But just ignore it, man. You can ignore, for the most part, not even for the most part, you can ignore it completely. Again, I do have to say, I understand that this might trigger some people, but gaming, like I said, man, it's a business at the end of the day, and these companies gotta make a bag as well.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9.
It's not pay to win in any way, shape, or form, so just ignore it, like I said, bro. But that does also bring me to another point, is subscribing to the freaking channel. So broski, if you've liked the video so far, please do consider subscribing to the channel, as it would help me out a absolute bunch in getting this video out for more awesome broskis like yourself. So let's get back to the review. Regarding what you can buy in the game, and those are things to make traveling easier around the world. Now, I don't know about you, broski, but I personally think the open world traversal in Dragons Dogma 2 is about as deliberate as the combat system, which we'll get into in a little bit. But why cut traversal completely, or try to minimize traversal when it's one of the biggest parts of the game? You do have fairy stones in the game that allow you to fast travel to major cities and settlements, and are acquired in the game with relative ease, I have to say, or just buying them with IRL cash money, of course. But I personally love the open worldedness in the game and how it works there, as there really are no shortcuts for the most part. There are no mountains mounts apart from the ox cart, which you can use to traverse, and they cost pennies, like 200 gold, for one-way tickets to different settlements around the world. And man, they travel only once per day, but you can skip time to travel during that time, and it's just not that big of a hassle. It's part of the RP in the game. You can also just freaking hoof it if you want, so it's also a convenient way to just kind of move around, bro. What makes traversal so nice in my opinion is the randomness of it all as well, because you might just one moment be walking about your merry way with your group of people before being dived down upon by a freaking griffin, or alternatively be called out by a dragon of all things, hiding behind a corner asking you to prove your mettle. Like, bro, I'm not proving nothing to nobody, let me tell you that. Apart from maybe how fast I can run the frig out of there. Combat to this point is very deliberate as well, with a mix of regular attacks and skills that you can unlock once you upgrade your vocation, which is this game's class system. And here's the same kind of deliberate actions. You have to, for the most part, swing your weapons with meaning, because if you happen to get tired or knocked down, then instead of laying the whooping on the various mobs that you come across your journey, you shall be the one who gets the whooping laid down upon them. Look, I'm trying to sound fancy, but look, stamina management is super important in this game, as there are other things that are super important. A lot of micromanaging, I gotta be honest. Blocking and using skills eats away at your stamina, and it's easy to forget sometimes how fragile even the ever so hyped Arisen can be. Now, continuing this theme of deliberacy, and I do hope that's a real word, health management is also absolutely vital in the most literal sense possible, as you don't always recover all of your health during your journeys in these vast lands, and have to make sure you have the necessary items to either rest and recuperate at a campfire, or just heal quickly on the go. Now, thankfully, you're not alone in this world, and you are joined by a multitude of pawns, and apart from the main one, you can choose any combination of pawns that you see and want to work with, and the system just in general works super well in my opinion. Now, they all manage to hold their own as long as they're not under level too much, and there are so many to choose from that you won't ever not know who to pick, to be honest. Now, I have said the word deliberate a few times already, and that's because I think the game is very deliberate in its systems, from weight management and equipment to traveling and combat. Like, everything just gels together when it clicks, bro. Bro, when it clicks, it just freaking clicks in a way that I'd be hard pressed to find a game that gives you a similar feeling than Dragons Dogma 2 does. And this does lead me to the big question that we love to ask on here, and that's, is the game fun? To that, I will say, not only is the game fun, but broski, I think this is probably shaping up to be my personal game of the year, in all honesty. I mean, if it's not clear already, I absolutely love this freaking game, and I'm super eager to just sink more and more hours into playing it more and seeing what more it has to offer. And I said more like 15 times. Yes, I understand there are some limitations in terms of quality of life stuff and the ever so present microtransactions that, again, you don't really have to use, on top of the performance issues. And admittedly, this might be more of a hardcore kind of RPG for some people, but for me personally, man, I freaking love this game so much. Like, I really am enjoying every single minute of this game. I enjoy the questing, the fact that the game doesn't hold your hand. You got to figure most of these things out for yourself. The equipment, the skills, the pawns, everything except for maybe the main story in the game, which is more political than I thought, but it's okay. It's manageable. I'm here for slaying big ass monsters, you know what I'm saying? I do have to say, when this game runs on all cylinders, it's up there with the very best that gaming has to offer. What I'm talking about in this video only scratches the freaking surface as well of what this game is and has in it. But yeah, man, I do want to hear your thoughts on Dragons Dogma 2 in the comments down below. Like I said, man, this game, I asked it in the beginning, but now for real, man, this game deserves a second chance, because now it's being more and more fixed and it's more and more playable, and I think now is the time, if any, that to give this game a second try, because man, so good, so good. People are gonna call me a shill, and I do hope I'd become a shill, because Capcom, man, pay me some moolah. Let me get that bag though. Anyway, I do want to start a conversation down in the comments below, man. Let me know what you think of Dragons Dogma 2, if it deserves a second chance, and also if you're giving it a first or second chance, man. Let me know in the comments down below. These were only my opinions, so who the f am I to tell you how to think about this game, man? You make that decision for yourself. If you enjoyed the video, man, subscribe to the channel, like the video, like I say multiple times, man. Hope you guys have a great day wherever you're from, whichever time of day you watch this ad. I've been your bro Chacho. Enjoy this meme that I think of while editing this video, man. Hasta prontísimo.
I'm looking through my Bible here this morning, and I can't see anything that says anything about your opinion.